The opening scene features a stranger in a suit who checks into a remote hotel named Renata, looking for peace, solitude, and an escape from the outside world. There, he is received by the hotel manager, who guides him towards his designated room. The stranger seems to have obsessive-compulsive tendencies. As he starts arranging his room in a perfect order after a while of resting, he walks out and wanders around the hotel, which appears deserted. He explores various areas, such as the swimming pool and the snooker room, before recap eventually returning to his room. In this entire time, there seems to be something going on inside the stranger's mind, as he looks curious and confused. As the night falls, he switches off the lights in order to retire to bed. Body is unable to sleep. As a result, he turns on the television that has merely one channel. Animal Planet. Once again departing from his room, he makes his way to the hotel's bar and meets the young bartender, who extends a drink offer. However, the stranger takes notice of a rule saying no drinks after 9 p.m., so he politely declines the offer. The next morning, the stranger appears in the dining hall for breakfast and sits beside an elderly lady. He has a red book in his hand, but instead of focusing on it, he looks around with a curious and perplexed expression on his face. Despite the elderly woman trying to talk to him, the stranger's thoughts seem to drift elsewhere. After breakfast, he is walking towards his room when he notices a woman named Jenny doing yoga. He watches her for a while, and as soon as she spots him, he walks away. Further along his path, he comes across the hotel manager, affixing rules and regulation templates to a wall beside him. There is his paralyzed wife in a wheelchair, who keeps on staring at the stranger appearing. A bit creepy. Later that day, the stranger goes for a swim. After a few laps, he lays down on a reclining chair with the same red book in hand. Jenny also enters the pool area and gracefully dives into the water. The stranger is captivated by her beauty, due to which she is unable to take his gaze off of her. Not long after, she comes to sit next to him and starts chatting in an active way. The closeness turns him on, but before the stranger can say anything, Jenny's boyfriend walks in and takes her away. In the evening, the stranger makes his way to the hotel bar, where the bartender offers him some cigarettes. The stranger this time notices a no-smoking rule, but the bartender exclaims that such regulations only prevent one from enjoying themselves. This time, the stranger decides to break the rule and lights up a cigarette. It's evident that it's his first time, because he starts coughing. As a result of this, the bartender demonstrates to him the right way to obtain cancer, teaching him how to feel that nicotine inside. As the night falls, the stranger retreats to his bed, only to be plagued by a moaning voice of the yoga lady from the next room. The voice again turns him on, and unable to control his emotion, he ends up touching himself, and for this, he doesn't even have to break a rule. The following day, as the stranger is heading towards the breakfast hall, he notices the bartender peeking in a room that belongs to the same elderly woman from earlier. This angers the stranger, so he chastises the bartender, prompting him to leave. But after a while, he himself peeks into the room and notices something shocking. The elderly lady is trying to satisfy her husband, who is beating himself. Following breakfast, the stranger proceeds to the snooker room, where he meets another lodger who claims himself to be a businessman. As their conversation unfolds, the stranger asks whether the businessman has detected anything out of the ordinary about the Renata Hotel, to which the latter answers in the negative. Witnessing his confused demeanor and distress, the businessman offers him a pill, assuring him that it will make him a completely different person. When he wakes up the following day, the businessman is so ready to provide as many pills as he wants. But this assistance comes with a condition: the stranger must help him in locating a misplaced key. Later, on his way back to his room, the stranger unexpectedly bumps into the maid as they gather their belongings from the floor. The stranger tries to strike a conversation with her, but before that, she asks for the reason why he is at the Renata. The stranger has no answer, so the maid walks away. On the same evening, all the guests gather in the dining hall. Here, the hotel manager announces some arrangements for their entertainment. While they enjoy their dinner, in order to perform the first act, the paralyzed woman is brought onto the stage, along with her son, who is none other than the bartender. The bartends his mother's paralyzed body in a puppet-like manner in order to deliver a series of awful jokes. Here, we notice the strange situation that the guests react only after the stranger looks at them, appearing as if his gaze triggers their reaction. And upon the conclusion of the first act, the stage welcomes the hotel manager's daughter, the same maid from earlier. She sings a beautiful song, which captivates the entire audience. As the song draws to an end, an unexpected surge of emotion overcomes the maid, causing tears to stream down her cheeks. The evening ends with the dinner, and the stranger consumes the offered pill. The next morning, he wakes up and looks more active than before. He freshens up and carries out his daily morning routine, driven back Yea, a desire for more of the transformative pills, the stranger resolves to assist the businessman to locate his misplaced key. Before long, he comes across the paralyzed this lady in the hallway and notices her neck adorned with a locket, believing that it might be the same key that he is looking for. The stranger puts his hand inside of her clothes, only to uncover a ring instead. After this, he picks her up and checks her back pocket. There, he finally finds the key and retrieves it. Afterwards, the stranger heads to the businessman's room to return the key and secure the promised pills. The latter appears to be playing a card game with the hotel manager. They ask the stranger to join them in the game, to which he agrees. In the middle of the gameplay, the hotel manager departs on errands, leaving the stranger and the businessman to continue seizing the opportunity. The stranger hands over the key, and in return, he receives a vial containing a limited number of pills. The businessman then challenges the stranger to one more card game, promising an additional bottle full of pills. If he wins, our weird hero agrees right away, and to everyone's surprise, he ends up victorious, thus earning both the bottles of pills. Later in the day, the stranger is swimming in the pool when he is approached by the bartender. Their conversation steers towards the previous night's performance, during which the bartender discloses the truth that the hotel manager forces them to perform those acts. He goes on to say that the manager controls them, manipulating them through the fear of the unknown. While talking, the bartender gradually draws nearer, appearing as if he is about to kiss the stranger. Their moment, however, is interrupted by the arrival of the maid, who enters with towels for them in the evening as the stranger is taking a relaxing shower. There is a sudden knock on his door. On answering, Eddie is greeted by the bartender, who extends an invitation for a family dinner. The stranger is initially hesitant, but he eventually agrees to do it. Afterwards, he joins the hotel manager's family for the dinner event. There he notices that the maid isn't allowed to join them, despite being a part of the family. Curious, the stranger inquires about the reason, to which the hotel manager asserts that there must be someone to serve. Throughout the dinner, there are long, awkward pauses, leaving the stranger with no idea of the topics to talk about. After a while, an argument initiates between the manager and his son regarding the rules and regulations of Renata. When the stranger cannot withstand the awkwardness anymore, he gets up and leaves at midnight. He hears the crying voice of the maid. As a result, he walks towards her and offers to help, but she runs away, saying that no one helps her. Moments later, the stranger stumbles upon a control room housing an array of CCTV monitors. This shockingly reveals that all the rooms are monitored by hidden cameras. With this newfound information, the stranger rushes to his room and checks every nook and corner to locate the covert camera. Just then, the television suddenly turns on and broadcasts footage of the maid's involvement in delivering pills to the businessman, assisting the elderly lady with her bath, and engaging in intimate moments with Ginny's boyfriend. At this point, stranger senses something amiss about the entire hotel. Driven by his suspicions, he exits the room and stealthily investigates an unused hotel chamber. At the same time, the bartender spots him and provides him with a key to access the same chamber. Upon entry, he discovers several pieces of laboratory equipment, including different acid syringes, vessels with blood dripping from them, and also some notebooks regarding starting pregnancy and genetic alteration. After witnessing all of this, the stranger's suspicions intensify as he senses that the employees, as well as the guests of the hotel, are together experimenting something illegal and unethical. Following this, the stranger rushes into Ginny's room, only to discover her boyfriend administering an unfamiliar substance into her body. The stranger confronts her boyfriend, but soon after, the hotel manager enters, grabs him, and locks him within his room. In the next scene, the bartender goes to the maid and forces her to seduce the stranger. At first, she hesitates, but reluctantly agrees when he threatens to burn down her cherished doll. The innocent maid then proceeds to the stranger's room and begins to undress in front of him. However, the stranger seems to know that she is being forced. Hence, he decides to flee the hotel with her. On the other side, the bartender, who is observing their actions from the control room, alerts the other guards and directs them to stop the fleeing duo. As soon as they hear the announcement, the guests immediately begin to pursue the stranger and the maid. Their reaction indicates as if they are being controlled by the hotel manager's computer system. The manager tries to stop his son from jeopardizing the entire hotel system, but the bartender overrides the system, locking his father inside the control room. The old man tries to break free, but he accidentally strikes his head hard in this process, which results in his death. Meanwhile, the stranger and the maid nearly approach the exit door when the stranger feels a sudden pain in his heart, causing him to collapse to the ground. He tries his best to rise and flee, but right then, the bartender arrives there and knocks him out. The rest of the guests then capture the maid and As controlled zombies to forcibly undress her after this, the bartender unbuckles his belt and asserts himself on the innocent maid. What the F? In the final scene, the stranger regains consciousness to witness the grim side of the maid's lifeless body on the floor. Breaking him into tears, he crawls towards her, drags her towards the exit door, where the paralyzed woman is also lying down dead. In a crying voice, he pays tribute to the maid's soul by singing the same song she had once performed. This sketch Ripped was pulled straight from the dream journal of a psychopath. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.